you know what an enemy is, and I think you know what love is, so go for it. It's like saying, what does he say when you're to love your neighbour? Well, you know what that means, loving your enemies. I would suggest that killing your enemies is not on the cards. If you can say, having shot your enemy dead and the blood's coming out of his ears on the ground, you say, I just loved my enemy, I would say go for it. But I would think very hard before doing that. You may have to give up your life for the faith. Of course you will try to avoid that. I see that. You'll call the police and so on. It's perfectly valid. Just like you've got a man who's trying to commit suicide by jumping out of the window, I'd do my best to restrain him. Of course I would. However, you better be jolly well sure before you do this. Shoot your enemy dead to protect somebody else. Can you then say, I love my enemy? If you can, go for it. But Jesus did say, you know, the famous text, put up your sword, Peter, the defensive sword in that case. Put your sword back in its sheath, because everybody who takes a sword perishes with the sword. That sounds rather universal. I stay away from swords and guns, myself, on that text, for fear of disobedience, remembering that salvation is by the obedience of faith. Hebrews 5:9, we need to preach that every Sunday about 10 times. That's not hard. You have to obey Jesus to be saved, so don't risk disobeying him by not loving your enemies. So this is very difficult. Jesus did say, if you're not willing to give up everything, including your husband and wife if necessary, and your family, you cannot even be a Christian. This is extremely uncompromising, and most people are not really willing to go that far. But then they're in danger of not being saved, you see. This is the tough teaching of Jesus. What you don't want to do is put up a screen between yourself and Jesus. And that's what a lot of scholarship does, by the way, the so-called critical method, analytical method. Form criticism says, we don't know what Jesus really said, we're not sure. We'll spend hours and hours trying to decide, did Jesus say this or that? It's too late. That's putting up a screen between yourself and the words of Jesus. Don't want to do that. That's to keep yourself out of the kingdom.